Now, in a previous message, we discussed the subject of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's intimate relationships with the Almighty Allah, Master Fard Muhammad, and with the one whom he placed on the throne of power, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan's knowledge of these relationships is at the root of his acceptance of the Messianic prophecies that describe his life. His self-concept as the Messiah and prophesied Christ is built upon these relationships. So let us consider the following from Brother Jabril Muhammad. It might take you quite a while to read through the sacred books of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims, and the many volumes of the writings of the learned of each group as they gave their understanding of God's word. This includes not just what each group of theologians has spoken and written of their own beliefs on the Messiah, but also the differences among themselves, as well as their respective differences with the other religious groups. Suppose you knew all of their learning. Would your learning of their view of him, meaning the Messiah, match the reality of the Messiah's self-concept? No. If you put the wisdom of the most learned of these three religious groups together, the totality of their wisdom would not prove to be as true as the Messiah's self-concept, which comes from God himself. The Messiah's arrival ends all disputes about himself, as he is the truth of himself. When the wise know he has arrived, they improve their knowledge and understanding of him from him. Now, one of the most prolific Jewish scholars, Moses Maimonides, the renowned 12th century Jewish philosopher, made a similar statement as what Brother Jabril just made. He stated, "And there are those among the sages who say that prior to the coming of the Messiah will come Elijah. But all these things are in their likes. No man can know how they will be until they will be. For they are indistinct in the writings of the prophets. Neither do the sages have a tradition about these things. It is rather a matter of interpretation of the biblical verses. Therefore, there's disagreement among them regarding these matters." Now, the Messiah establishes his presence among the people. However, only a few who are familiar with the Messianic prophecies and not merely engrossed in religious dogma can detect his presence. Unfortunately, the simple truth that the black people of the Western Hemisphere are the real children of Israel seems to be beyond common black Christian scholarship. Many black preachers have been deceived into rejecting their own identity in salvation. Now, how does the Messiah gain this self-concept? Again, when we deal with self-concept, we deal with what that one knows about himself and what his purpose and function is. We can sit around and say, you ain't this or you ain't that. But as long as that one knows and is going about the work, then Allah is with him and the prophecies are being fulfilled. And of course, that don't mean that any of us will be able to detect the fulfillment of the prophecies. Most people don't even know or have a clue. Perhaps maybe until the last 80 years. But much more don't even consider it. Yet the Messiah goes about his work and all naysayers can say what they want to say. But one thing we know about the naysayers, black, white, and different, we know you ain't the Messiah. How about that one?